This is your host, Jason Snellgrove, and I will be your guide as we journey down the road to pleasure hunt or hitting the long trail to those great comp hunts. This is the Coonhound Collective podcast. All right, welcome to the podcast today. Today I have traveled to northeast Missouri, just outside of La Plata, and I'm sitting here with Mr. Harry Tuggle. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm up here because Steve Yant, I guess you had reached out to him, or he reached out to you, and about a new coon pen that you've got going, and offered a month up for the Youth National thing for those raising money, which I think everybody appreciates anybody that gets involved to try to help the youth out some way. And I don't never win anything, but I won this, and I just happened to have a puppy, so
worked out.
It is definitely worked out great. And we've rode around and looked at your pen, and we're going to talk about your pen here in a little bit. But first, won't you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you're from here.
Harry Tuggle. I've lived La Plata pretty much my whole life, besides when I was working on the road and traveling, and got to coon hunting with Mr. Eldon Corick here in La Plata. Just going pleasure hunting with him, and it kind of bit me. Always had hounds of some sort, never had a coon hound, and got to go into a few hunts with Eldon, and then he let me hunt a female he had called Tina, and just seemed like everywhere I went, I won my first cast I ever got in with her, and just hauled her around quite a bit, done quite a bit of winning, and then he had the opportunity to sell her, and he got rid of her, and so he found me a dog, and I bought it, and we started traveling together and went to a lot of hunts and learned a lot from Eldon. Known him pretty much my whole life. Best friends with his sons, and just always kind of tagged along with them.
So was it a Walker dog, or? Yes. Have you always hunted Walker dogs?
I've always hunted Walker dogs.
Is there a particular line you like better than others, or?
Funny you should ask that. The first dog that I bought was off of Southern Pines Jet. And I'm wanting to say, I can't remember the female exactly, but I'm wanting to say she was a nailer bred female. And Eldon actually had a litter mate to her, and he found me this female. And she started, but pretty green, and she turned into a pretty nice hound. And then kind of got through the super stake stuff, and I let her go. And then I got hooked up with the Trackman dog. And they were off of Rat-A-Tack Sassy 2. In my opinion, it was one of the best crosses ever made on Trackman. John Horner had Rat-A-Tack Sassy 2, and I got several pups off of him, and ended up hunting Trackman stuff till I quit. Right before I quit, I had a little female that was off of Mojo and a Reggie Ramsey's Tramp female, and I ended up selling her about 10 months old, but at 9 months old, I had almost $1,000 went on her, and she was just a natural. Started at about 4 months old on her own, just started treeing around the house, and pleasure hunted her some, and just started putting her in hunts. And all in all, she was probably the nicest hound that I've ever owned. And I ended up getting a job on the road, and so I ended up getting out of the hunting and sold everything and quit for about, I think it was around 15 years, and had a guy give me a dog a little over a year ago, and here I am.
It's been downhill ever since.
Full swing. Got 5-6 head out here now. But,
so you mentioned when we were just talking earlier about you maybe had started some young dogs or whatever and sold them, and honestly, I didn't know who you were, and I told you this story, but I was over last weekend at the Cheyenne Cummins, benefit hunt they were having for him. And, me and Ronnie Smith kind of had a bidding war over a weed eater.
Imagine that.
And, anyway, we worked out a deal, and I ended up with the weed eater. Let's just say that I didn't win the auction, but it worked out. I got the weed eater.
Well, not to change the subject on you, but Ronnie Smith should have been on a rocking chair as old as he's getting now. He don't need no dang meat. He needs to hire some young man to do that.
Yeah. But we were talking, and I brought up about bringing, my pup up here, and he said, well, who is it? And I told him, and he said, and this is his words, he said, well, you won't find a straighter, honest person about a dog and a man that knows how to train some dogs. So let's talk about some dogs that, maybe you've gotten started and kind of your technique of starting them, because I told you when I pulled up here, I think I'm going to sell my place and move up here. This is beautiful. I mean,
I'll rent you a room.
Kind of flat rolling hills and some big scattered timber and some fields and row crop. And I'm sure you got coons up here that can be run.
No, we've got coons everywhere. Kind of live in a dream spot. I can load the dogs up and drive 30 seconds and be in the best coon hunting in this area.
I would say might even be in some of the best coon hunting in the country. I mean, it's nice.
You hear that a lot from guys that come up here to the Bear Creek Classic or any of the hunts we have, or you go somewhere to a hunt and you're talking to guys, they ask where you're from, and you tell them, and they're like, oh God, we've been there, and we would love to live there and hunt all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a buddy that, lives down at Batesville, Mississippi, and he's got some hunting out in the Delta that's really nice. I mean, it's flat as a pancake and, not very big timber, but they also got a lot of people. I don't know, what is it, 4 miles from the highway out yonder to here or something?
It's about 4 miles.
Yeah. And I think I passed 2 or 3 houses, and you're down here at the end, and that's great.
I do have the dream spot. The road turns to dirt at my driveway, and there's not another house for a mile, the closest house, and then it's about 1.5 miles, and then you go to about 3 miles. So there's not many people to holler and scream at you if your dogs are barking.
Yeah. So do you have opportunity to you let any run loose at all?
Occasionally I do. And just like anybody, I've got some crazy drivers and guys out having fun on their side-by-sides at night. They'll come by and music blaring and going a little fast, but hey, it is what it is. I was their age once. So if it's muddy, nobody comes by, so I can let some dogs run loose. But I've kind of eliminated that with building this pen. This was a dream of mine for a long time, and once I got back in, I was just in a better place in my life and a good spot to do it.
Yeah. So back when Ronnie was referring to, was you, because obviously you didn't have the pen at that time, I guess, was you just taking them out and just taking them hunting? Or
so where I lived at that time, it was at that point in my life, I mean, I lived there to mow the yard, and they had cattle around it, and they fed, and there was just open ridges with big oak trees, hickory trees, walnut trees, and I put some feeders out there, and I lived 1/8 of a mile off the road, and I just let dogs run loose, and I always had 7 or 8 dogs, and just let them get started, and once they treed their first coon, I just started hauling them and handling them a lot. I was single, and life was great.
Yeah, this pup that I brought up here, and I'm sure if some of y'all probably can hear a dog barking in the background, that's my crazy dog. He's in a new place, and he don't know really what's going on. He's been at my home since he left his mama's tit. So, and that's what I was getting to is, where I live, I can kind of let one run free, and I've had some incidents with a couple of my little feist dogs. Things happen. I had an eagle catch one, which was kind of a freak deal. My neighbor actually seen it happen. And then I had another one that run a rabbit in a pipe and got her head hung, and we couldn't find her. She's behind a dairy about 3/4 mile from the house or so. But this pup, he kind of run loose, and to me, I just, when that, or if you have, like you were talking about being single, have the opportunity to have all those dogs around and be able to take them and run loose. I think it kind of helps them kind of learn some things and mature. It may also create some bad habits too, but like him, he needs to learn to lead a little better, but that's my fault because I've let him run loose, and I just call him when he comes to me type thing.
And that leading is one of my focuses in the pen, and I got to load them and haul them back there, and they're going to handle like mine do. I mean, that's... Yeah.
Well, before we get talking about the pen, I know you told me one coon hunting story. You got any stories besides that with that one and any others that you could tell us?
Oh, God, I've got a pile of them, but one I just told you a little bit ago and we was chuckling about was good buddy of mine, Jeff Jackson. I know you probably don't know him, but there's a lot of guys out there that hear this that probably do. We cut loose one night in a cornfield. We had some young dogs, and Jeff got his lawn chair out and popped down, and they ran about 15 or 20 minutes in there, and the coon come out, went under his chair, and the dogs come out and about rolled him out of his chair, and they ran a little bit longer and got in there and got treed. We slipped in there, and Jeff shined his light up there, and he said, "Oh, my God, look at that albino coon. It's a giant." And I said, "Oh, boy, it is." We was high-fiving, and, yeah, of course, it was out of season. Nothing we could do about it. Kept looking at him. I backed out a little bit, parted some trees, and looked back up there, and it was the same time of year as it is right now, and the cottonwood was dropping seed, and it was just a big ball of cottonwood seed. He made me promise to never tell anybody about that, and I told him that I would never.
Well, quite a few people probably getting to hear that now, and that's pretty good.
I'm probably never going to hear the end of it.
Well, I told you this. I actually, I think I was 16, treat a double, and it was 2 kitten albino coons. And I had to put in the freezer. We was going to have mounted, and we lived where I lived at. We lived in hurricane country, and a hurricane come through. We lost power. Of course, we lost some meat, and we lost that coon too. And I've always wanted to treat another one, but boy, they're tough to find. That's for sure.
They're tough little critters to get. Don't see very many of them.
Yeah, no, they don't. They stay hid pretty well to be white. That's for sure. Okay, so you got you. How long you've had the pen up now?
About 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks. Okay, it's 5 acres.
5.5 acres. Yep.
We went back there and I'll kind of describe it and then we'll talk about it. But it's about a 5 or 6 foot tall fence. And what I really like about it is you got some corn planted in there and you got some timber in there and it's kind of brushy. And then there's a couple of not really brush piles, but like some down
log piles.
Log piles
that dogs
and stuff.
can get right under them and go right out the other side.
And there's a lot of different scenarios a dog can be in that little pen right there. And what was your thought? Did you put that much thought into doing that on purpose, or it just kind of happened?
Well, I actually done that before, and I thought I was going to have to take them out, and I wasn't sure. My big thought was if somebody's dog gets in there and gets his collar hung up and you can't get to him and he chokes to death or something. So I when I first got it up, the first week or two, I put some of my dogs in there and realized that the log piles I just rolled them off in a ditch, and they can still get, the ditch is about 3 foot deep, so the dogs can still go under it, and they can push the coons out of there. And the other little pile is just a little brush. It's nothing I'm really concerned about. And the dogs seem to get in there, and they'll push coons out of there and then get them treed. So I really ain't got too many concerns about it. My thought was just taking care of somebody's dog that I have here on my place the best that I can physically take care of it and send them home the same shape they came in.
Yeah. Well, I can say just the dogs that I've seen here, the dogs that I've seen in the pen were down there. I mean, they look in great health and, look like they've been well taken care of. And some of the things that you explained to me that you do, I don't think there's no danger of a dog being took care of.
And I've been running 6 dogs. That's what my goal was 6. I'm just trying to figure out a good number. I don't want to take too many dogs and not get to spend enough time with somebody's dog that they're paying me to take care of and get started. The 6 is working out really good. I get up early of a morning and I'll kick 3 loose and go back there. I'll sit back there for a while. They get treed. I'll go to them and just always messing with them and handling them. And, we spend a lot of time with them. My girlfriend, she spends countless hours out here leading these dogs around. I mean, she loves it. It's a big hand. I mean, I can't do it all myself. She does a lot. If I'm gone to hunt or go do something, she'll feed. She takes care of things for me, and she takes just as good a care of them as I do.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So, of course, my dog showed up here today, but say over the next 5 days, what's your first steps with these dogs? You just taking them out there, dumping them in the pen? Or?
No, I try to get a read on the dog. I don't want to just take him back there. We could easily drove back there in your pickup and just throwed him right in the pen with the ones I've got in there right now. I've just got some young dogs of mine that just letting them get used to the brush in there and kind of hang out today. And I don't like to do that because I want that dog to get to know me. If I go down here this afternoon and I get him out and lead him around and he likes me and, tomorrow I'll kick him in the pen. But I'll go back there with him and I'll kind of lead him around in the pen a little bit and just let him kind of check things out. And I just like to get buddied up with them. It just makes it a lot easier on me and it makes it, a lot better experience for them in my opinion. And then, I'll put them in there every few days. I'll give the dogs a break, give the coons a break. And so, my morning dogs, I'll do them in the morning and I'll bring them back to the house. And then I do a set in the evening right before dark and let them have 2 or 3 hours in there and kind of hang out and That way, if they get treed, I can be there. And that's my big thing. I don't like leaving the dog in the pen all day and all night. To me, it does that dog no good. I want him to know when he gets treed that somebody's coming.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of getting a dog treed, to go to him and pet him up. And so that's my big focus on it. And like I said, the hauling, I want these dogs to handle for these guys when they get them. Mm-hmm. A lot of the legwork's going to be done. The hard part of getting in the box and, some of them are a little slow to load, or they may try and they just act like they don't know how to do it. I've got a little dip out here in the yard. I'll back my truck in it. The tailgate's about 1.5 feet off the ground. And you do that with them 2 or 3 times and they figure it out. I mean, It's just simple things.
Yeah. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about, because I think people get it in their head that, I'm going to put my dog in this puppy pen and, I can't believe it's that much. And they're just turning the dog in there and leaving it for 30 days. And, there's more to it than just putting a dog in a pen. And of course you got a lot of money tied up in that fence. We talked about that, but I think people need to understand there's more to it, especially if it's done right. There's more to it than just opening a gate and turning a pup in a pen.
A lot more to it.
And also at the same token, the learning to lead properly, the learning to load. I mean, that, especially if you're busy like me, I own my own business and busy. And this pup I've got, like I said before, he's run loose, but I never even really thought about, I ain't put a lead on him that much because I just call him and he comes to me. So, yesterday I thought, I better put a lead on this dog, make sure he don't go crazy. And of course he didn't. He ain't perfect at it. He obviously needs work, you leading. But, I think people get it in their head that, hey, I'm going to spend this money and I'm going to take this dog up here and in 30 days I'm going to get him back and he's going to be a world champion. And there's more to it than just putting a dog in a pen.
And I've had a few weird, just oddball questions and different things. Guys, I don't know how you're making any money at it. Hey, it is what it is. I feel satisfied with what I'm doing and what I'm getting back to profit off of it. As long as it pays for that pen. If everybody quits using me and I got the pen paid for, I got a pen to use for myself. But I don't see that happening. I'm getting calls daily.
Yeah.
I've had people, well, it takes a lot of time. How do you spend that much time with them? Well, I recently, just before I decided to do this pen, and it's one of the reasons I decided to do it, I started my own business, doing a little construction work and different odd end things. I don't have any employees. I work for myself. Didn't know how it was going to go and advertised it one time on Facebook, and I'm a month behind. But I can make my own schedule.
Yeah.
I get my times. Like I said, I do of a morning and I do of an evening, and I don't leave the dogs in the pen if I'm going to be gone all day.
Well, one of the things that you said to me when we were riding around looking at the pen that really stood out to me was you said when you're making your schedule for work, this is part of your work.
This is. I've over the years I've traveled a lot. I graduated high school on a Sunday and left at 4:00 in the morning to go to Kansas City to work on the road in 1993, and I worked on the road for several years, and then I did get a job at home when I started coon hunting and had it for 5 or 6 years. And then, there's always more money on the road, but it costs more. But I'm getting to the age that I was like, this has been a dream. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe not everybody, but people that's fooled with young dogs or puppies, it's probably been a dream of everybody. It's just not always a reality. To make it happen. I told you, me and my wife's been married 27 years, and I've always wanted a piece of property that, the house and stuff was kind of up on a hill and it kind of fell off to a kind of a wetland area that I could have fenced in and made a pen similar to this to have dogs to train or whatever. And I thought about doing it at where I live now, especially for my squirrel dogs, but it's hard to drive T-post through that shelf rock.
Yes, it is.
I don't like it.
This was clay back here in a few places, and it wasn't very fun.
Yeah.
But and like I explained to you too, when we was going around the pen, and I wanted to make it bigger in the beginning, but I had some money that I'd been saving to do some different things, and I went to price and stuff, and I had enough to do the pen. And of course, like I explained to you, I'm gonna get a better kennel set up for me and get it back there closer, and the dogs will have shade all day long.
Plenty of shade.
And I'm if it goes well, which it started out pretty good, and if it continues this way next spring, early. I'm gonna extend it by about another 5 acres.
Yeah.
And I'll have a big 5 acre cornfield, solid cornfield in there. And right now, it's got the milo, it's got sweet corn, it's got field corn. There's mulberry trees in there. There's blackberry bushes in there.
Yeah.
I'm going to plant some fruit trees in there. Just anything to get the coons to feel more at home. And you know, they'll tend to go down when that stuff's putting fruit on. They'll go up and make them more active, and you know, you get more daytime activity. But and I am turning dogs loose at night, because I mean, a coon dog, you hunt him at night. So when I get them treeing and going in the daytime, then I'll turn some of them loose at night, and you know, just hang around back there and walk around with them and go to them.
And you know, I've been to some pens. I talked to you about this. You know, in your brain, and even my brain, you know, even after seeing the first one was coon pen, you're thinking it's a fenced in area in the timber. Coons live in trees, and that's what you think. One of the things I thought, and maybe there's other people that have pens like this, but I thought that was really unique of the ones I've seen with yours, is the open area that's in there. I mean, a coon can get down and get over there close to that fence on that far end over there. I mean, that dog's going to have a little track to run before he can get back to a tree, which I think would be very beneficial for any young dog.
Oh, and right there where that area you're talking about, I had brush hogged all that, and we no-tilled field corn right into it. We didn't work the ground, and there was all that dead grassland there, and them coons got in there, and they literally riddled that. They was digging in that windrow of grass from the brush hog, and I mean, they was having a heyday. They was out there all the time. Yeah. And I run cell cameras in there, so I know when the coons are moving, hitting the feeders. I don't have all of them on feeders. I'm going to make some more den boxes and put in there for them, and there's still a lot of work to be done in it. But I just got it up and going to start getting it paid for. Yeah. And I'm just going to keep adding to it as I go and make it that much better. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, the what you charge a month is very minimal to what stuff costs nowadays, and what you got invested in it. And, I mean, hopefully, you know, it'll stay busy and you can get it, like you said, at least have paid for a coon pen for yourself. But I don't think you'll have any trouble keeping it full.
I don't, the way the calls are coming in, I don't think I am either.
Yeah.
I can stay as busy as I want with it. Yeah. If you want to be honest about it.
Well, and I think, you know, of course, you know, I told you I do lawn care and landscaping, and I thought about doing something like this, but my problem is I get so busy in the spring, and then we have these crazy summers and falls where you don't know if you're going to have a fall, or is half the summer going to go till December, you know, down there where I'm at. So then it ends up going longer. So then it shortens my time up, because I thought, well, I could do a puppy program or do something like this and take a few dogs in, but it's not part of my job. And I think that's what sets you apart from me or anybody else that does it, is they're doing it as, I'm going to do this as extra, and you're doing this as, this is part of my job. This is what I do every day. I'm not going to put this off to go, you know, into a job somewhere. This is what I'm doing. And, you know, I think that really sets this a little bit apart from somebody that's working a job and doing this. Not that there's anything wrong with it. You got to do what you got to do. It's just, I think you probably get a better result in the end when you have somebody that's actually taking this on as a job.
Yeah, and like you said, that's part of my job. The way it's going to be part of my living from now on. Yeah. Another thing with the pen that I want to touch base with people on, it's not solely in the pen. If I get your dog here and he's been here 2 weeks and he starts treeing coons regularly, about the second or third time he trees, I'm going to get a hold of that guy and I'm going to say, do you mind if I take him on the outside? Just because he don't need to spend all that time in the pen. He needs, you know, he'll just be in there if I'm in there, because I know that dog's going to get treed quick. You know, your dogs, when you first start them, they're just in there feeling it out. You know, some of them might jump right on a track and take off, and you know, there's some rabbits in there. They run rabbits or squirrels in it. But I've also got a neighbor up here, Kansas City. He's a big deer hunter, turkey hunter. Real nice guy. Don't really care for it. But I've talked to him, and He's gave me the run of his place.
Mm-hmm.
He's got paths mowed. He's went in there and cut firewood and made paths, and you could drive a truck all over up there, and I don't know how many 100 acres is up here.
Yeah.
And he stopped by the other day and we was talking about it. I was telling him what I was doing, and he said, well, I like that. He said, I hate coons. He said, would you do me a favor and coon hunt that? He said, on one condition. And I said, what's that? And he goes, well, I don't want you in there from September 15th to January 15th. That's deer season's all over and done with.
Yep.
And he said, when turkey season opens until it closes, I don't want you in there. But he said, the rest of the time, act like it's yours. He said, thin some of them out for me. So I just kind of took advantage of that situation, and I thanked him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, you got all them trails up there, and I'm taking these pups. I said, some of them don't know a whole lot. Rather than just having them in one spot, would you mind if I took them up there of an evening right before dark and just walked through them trails and just let them run around and do whatever? He goes, go for it. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's another subject we'll get on here in a little bit I'll bring up. But yes, they're going to get a lot more than just in the pen.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I've always liked messing with pups, and everybody tells me I'm nuts, but I've always had pups around.
Yeah.
So
there's been times that, I thought, man, I like messing with these pups. I love seeing I like seeing a pup get interested. When I'm hunting a pup at night, a lot of people don't do this, and I know I've hunted with people who thinks I'm crazy, but when I first turn that pup loose and he's just kind of running around you or whatever, I got my light on that dog. I'm watching him, and I've been in hunts where people say, "Oh, cut your light off, don't shine my dog." Well, I mean, I shine mine all the time, and it don't affect them. I like to see what they're doing, and years ago, I didn't have a Garmin, but I had that little flashing light, on their collar. I'd put that on so I could see that pup working through the woods, and I like to see their nose on the ground and smelling up a tree, and kind of see what they're doing, but anymore I get aggravated too quick, so I don't mess with it.
And well, like we was talking back there too, just watching the pups do things. And like I told you, I slept back there and all the deer in the cornfield.
Yeah.
On the outside, I've got a sweet corn. We've got 2.5 acres of sweet corn planted there. And when you first put them dogs in there, they'll bark at them deer out there. And I slept back there the other night, and there was 8 or 10 deer in that field, and them dogs were just standing there looking. They would never bark once. The deer ran off. The dogs, and that's just something else to get them exposed to.
Yeah.
They're in my opinion, okay. Well, that don't mean nothing to us. I mean, we're not supposed to be chasing that. It's sitting there. I can see it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and for a young dog, that's what I was telling you. Exposure is everything. And you can expose my pup in 30 days to more different tracks, more coon track than I can probably do in 6 months where I live. Or, diesel fuel's $5 a gallon almost, and I burn up a lot of diesel fuel riding around hunting a coon to turn him loose on.
Well, believe it or not, some nights it's that way around here. Oh.
Yeah. Man, it looks like, a coon hunter's paradise with the timber and the stuff like that, but I'm sure there is times where, it may be hard to get on a good track, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is. And sometimes I think you can take pups. I think you can have too many coons, too much track.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it can overwhelm them. They just can't never get up a tree because there's so much track. They just keep, it just overwhelming for them. But.
And I wonder, I got a half sister to this pup, and I took him and her a week or so ago on a Friday night. And I got this one spot that I mainly reserve to take my young dogs and pups to that have quite a few. It's got a few coons in it, and the guy wants me to kill them out of there. Of course, it ain't kill season right now, but I take my pups in there because I know he's got a pond on the backside of it, and I can, and he's got a feeder for his deer right beside that pond, and I can park up in the pasture and send them. The pond's in the timber, and it's about a 250 yard trek down there to that pond and feeder, and send them in there. The other night I had this thought of, well, I cut that dog loose. They went down there right where I thought they would, and that pup and that half sister of his struck a track, and they worked it around, and then it was like they changed tracks. And I wonder when there's that many tracks on the ground, if it don't hurt them because they're drifting those tracks when they should just be sticking to one and treeing it.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of dogs out there anymore, and I own one of them right now. They're getting a little bit of the tree bred out of them. I've got a little female down here, off a stud. Guys got him for a stud dog, but he's kind of overlooked. Actually, I got 4 here out of him, and what I'm seeing out of these dogs, they've got mouths, and I mean, he's throwing some nice, big, good-looking pups. Like I said, they got the mouth to back it up. But she's wipeout bred.
Yeah.
The wipeout Mako dog of Billy Strong. Just kind of accidentally got hooked up with one of them. A friend of mine bought one, and one of his grandsons to kind of get started, and he was taking interest, and then he got more involved in ball, so he didn't want to mess with the pup, so I bought her off of him.
Yeah.
She's a super nice dog, and, you know, I'm going to tell you, she's going to sound unreal, but the dog's 95% accurate. I've walked to 2 slick trees. I've had her for almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
I've walked to 2 slick trees to her. When she looks up, she's got a coon.
Yeah.
I mean, and 4 or 5 den trees.
Yeah.
But she trails a lot.
Yeah.
You might go and she might trail for 2 hours.
Yeah.
A lot of people say you need to bump her out, or you need to do this, you need to do that. She'll be 2 in September.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when she's clicking, she's clicking. And she trees coons. And I mean, you can ask anybody around here that's hunted with her. She's annoying. Annoys a lot of people. Like I said, she gets in that trail mode, but she's going to come out of it.
Yeah.
But she can flat run a track, and she's caught more coons on the ground than any of the dogs I've ever owned combined. Yeah. And she's not quiet about it. She's nonstop. Every time her foot hits the ground, screaming. And I don't know how she does it, but she catches a lot of coons.
Well, I'm going to edit all that out, and we're going to work a deal so I can buy her. No, they, you know, I've Barry Kitty, you know, and they talk about, they even talked about the first dog they started with, the Wipeout Candy dog, that, you know, that's where she was. She'd trail and trail and trail, but the nights that she was on, you know, that's where the name come from. She would wipe them out, you know. And I think, you know, and I think probably, and this is way off subject, but being we're talking about that, I think Facebook has probably done the coon hunting business a disservice, because you see those few pups that are, you know, 8, 7, 9 months old, and they're going in there treeing coons, and then, I'm going to get me a pup, and I'm going to get me one out of that line, and they get it, and they turn it loose, and it stands there and looks at them, and then they're aggravated, and when they're 12 months old, they sell them, and they're selling good dogs.
I've bought a few of them, and that's another part of my pen service. We're going to offer some dogs that I've got 2 coming 6-month-old females. I'm going to keep one. I'm going to sell one. Mm-hmm. They're once again, they're off a Wipeout Mako. Their mother goes directly back to cuz. So then, and I have an older female that just turned 12 months old. That's the same cross, and she's really, really coming on. She don't do quite as much trailing. She's a little more tree-minded than my flirt female is, but I mean, like I said, everybody wants me to, you need to get rid of her, you know, move her on. But I just see too much, and I know when she does it, the dog is deadly accurate. I mean, she's really accurate. Yeah. I put her in RQE and won my cast in RQE, qualified her for the zones, and then hunted her the first night of the Bear Creek Classic, and she won her cast that night, and I've had her in a couple more hunts. She came in heat the next night, so I didn't get to hunt her anymore. Yeah. But she's a nice little female. I've talked to Billy about Mako, and he's kind of told me what kind of dog he is. I've had a couple other guys that know of Mako and actually have litter mates to Mako, and the dog's reproducing. This, and we're gonna have some pups here before long. I've got a little project down here I've been working with that I haven't told you about yet, but she's due to come in heat any day, and as soon as she's ready, get our progesterone test done, and Billy's coming up with Mako, and we're going to breed her. She's out of Late Round Rock and JWoww.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what happens. She's 2.5. I think she'll be 3 in September.
Yeah.
I actually talked to Brandon Costleman about her. I haven't had her but about 3 or 4 months. And she's treated some road coons. I've turned her loose on road coons, and she'll run every one of them and tree them. First night I took her right down here in the bottom, I cut her loose. She went right in there and treated coon, and then knocked it out to her. She went on in there, treated another coon, and then cut her loose, and she just went into trail mode. And Brandon, we kind of talked back and forth, and he said that he had her till she was 6, 7 months old, and said she'd done a lot of trailing, and he just, wasn't his style, so he sold her to somebody, and then I don't know who had her then, and she's never really got messed with a lot, and she just kind of pin stale, in my opinion. She's a crazy loud, good, nice mouth on her. She'll get treed, but I don't know if we're going to try to push her and get her hunted up and try to do any hunts with her, but for sure she's going to be a brood female. She's got the right breeding. I'm gonna keep her, and I got my hands on her, and I'm going to keep her here on the farm. And that was another big kicker of doing the pen to raise some pups. And I was looking for a good bred female, and I was buying young dogs to get started. It takes a while. You don't want to breed them too young.
Yeah.
So she's going to be the start of my breeding program here at Bear Creek Kennels.
Yeah. Well, sounds like she's definitely bred good, and sounds like she's possibly a good hunter. I mean, some of those dogs, like I was talking about, they're not being world champions by 12 months old, so they get aggravated and move them on. And and I know some dogs start soon, and then dogs go backwards, and people get aggravated and sell them. And a lot of times you can pick up a good dog, then, and just it needs a little more work, and it just needs some time put into it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're going to see what happens here. He's going to breed Mako to her and see how they turn out. And I don't know if there'll be any available to the public. Maybe depends on how big of a litter she has, if we'll sell any. If she don't have a great big litter, they all just stay here and get them started and see how they act. Yeah. I really, I would like to see what they're going to do before I put them out there. And it may be a flop. It may be a world beater. Who knows?
Yeah.
You never know with any of them.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. To me, a lot of people that are smarter than I am has maybe got this breeding thing figured out. But to me, it's always a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't know till you try it. The only cross that is not a good one is the one you don't make, because you just don't know.
Yep. Right now, and hopefully within the next 30 days, I'll have some dogs ready to get out here. And I want to try to keep some dogs priced where the working man can actually afford to buy a dog.
Yeah.
I want to get some in that $2,500 range to $5,000. Who knows? If it's something that's I think going to be a world beater, I might keep it.
Yeah.
But I want to try to get some out there and work on them and say, hey, this is what it's doing. Finish her out. Take her. And that's the whole thing with the pen. I don't want people thinking their dog's going to come home, they're going to take him to a hunt 2 nights later and win a hunt.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there might not be one leave here doing that. That's a fluke. But, I just want them to know that when they take them home, they should be able to take them hunting and dog tree a coon.
Well, and
not all of them's going to tree a coon. Some dogs they may sit here in this pen and just tree a little bit or just act interested, and you might take him home and he may call me and say, well, she's blowing the top out of the trees. You never know.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was something before we, get to the end of this I wanted to bring up, is I think people get the expectation that I've took my dog. So for me, I'll use me, not everybody. I'll use me. I took my dog up here and he's in this pen. He's going to be in this pen for 30 days. And when I get him back, I'm taking him to the Super Stakes and I'm going to win the whole thing. The work starts when you get that pup back, because if we as dog owners, as people that's got puppies that want to hunt them, do not take the responsibility on ourselves to pick up what and put the rest of the pieces together what you started, you're not gonna have the results that you want. And if you get that dog and you take it home and, oh, I'm busy and, he's had 30 days, I'm going to leave him sitting in the pen for 3 weeks and then get him out and mad after 3 weeks of him sitting in the pen because he ain't doing what you told him he was doing when he was here, it's your own fault. You have to continue to put the work, especially with pups, with young dogs in general. Consistency.
Put in the miles.
You have to do something with them every day for it to pay off.
Yeah, and I'm a prime example of that. This little female I was telling you about that does all the trailing. I mean, she went to Looking Good Tree Coons. I got started on this pen, and it took us a little long to build it because we had a bunch of rain that got wet. I didn't want to go back here and mess up all the groundwork I'd done and have ruts to deal with later on. And so it was actually a couple months before we ever got it done, 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be done a lot sooner when it was a little cooler to get going. But I kind of put her up. It's not her fault.
Yeah.
It's not the dog's fault. I've been busy trying to get this done. But now that I've got my new business started, everything's kind of tapered off, and look out, because I'm fixing on starting hunting hard.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm going to take some of these dogs that's treeing in the pen. I'll take them for a drop or two a night once in a while.
Yeah.
But do whatever it takes. I want people to be satisfied, and not every dog that comes through here is going to do it.
Yeah.
There's some guys that know that, and some guys don't. Might think, well, he didn't do nothing with this dog, or if I've got it, it's going to have every opportunity. I mean,
not all dogs make it. That's
nope.
It's I guess that may be why some people don't like messing with puppies, because you get this 6 or 8 week old puppy at home, and you're playing with it in the yard, and you kind of become bonded with it a little bit, and then you're thinking, man, this dog's going to be nice, and then you start hunting and it don't meet your expectations, and you're disappointed, or you put it in a pen like you've got here, and you get it out and it's just okay, it's just not what you thought it was going to be, and the problem is we're not honest with ourselves. And
100%.
And I'm guilty as anybody of maybe hanging on to one too long and maybe getting rid of one too. I got rid of a female out of shack that there's not a day that I don't think about her that I don't kick my own self in the butt, because she was young. She had kind of been messed with, and then she kind of been laid up, and then I got her and started messing with her. Second night I took her, she was a mile treed with a coon, and I mean big mouth, little bitty put together female, and I ended up selling her. And it was one of those things that I had the other dogs, and what I should have done was just cut back and focused on her. And I think people get lost in that of, well, I got this dog, he ain't doing what I want to do, I'm gonna put him in a pen, and my so and so down the road's got this other dog, I'm gonna go get him, mess with him. And really, you probably should just either put your time in the dog that you got and hunt him through it, or get rid of that dog, cull him, ever how you want to do that, find somebody to give him to, make him a pet home, whatever you want to do, and go get you something else to mess with. And maybe you're not situated for a puppy. Maybe you need a young dog that you can start right away and figure out where he's going to be quicker. Because I know, especially with kids, and I have grandkids, and I've always told my kids and grandkids, hey, you can go up there. I want you to be around the dogs. I want them socialized, but don't get bonded with them, because that don't mean, just because they're here today don't mean they're going to be here tomorrow.
Exactly.
We have to learn to be honest with ourselves.
There's a time for one to stay. There's a time for one to go.
Yeah.
And you can bang your head against the wall, but if you see it and you think it's there, a lot of people, like you said earlier, getting rid of them young dogs. They 7 months old, ain't doing nothing. I'm sending them down the road. Yeah. Call me.
Yeah.
Call me.
Yeah.
I've been watching.
Yeah, being we're talking about getting rid of young dogs, Brad, I know you're listening. You know which one you need to get rid of. Just be honest with yourself and get rid of it. I'll tell you the story later. We've got our dog here. Our dog's in the pen. What kind of, are you giving updates to the owners, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to as much as I can. I got a lot happening, but when I'm seeing things and getting a lot of calls, and I'm getting better at it, but I want people to know what their dog's doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and people need to have realistic expectations. I'm dropping my dog off today. I don't expect you to call me next week and say, hey, come get this thing. He's treeing the fire out of coons. Or, you know, hey, here's a picture of him taking a poop out here in the pen. I don't need to know any of that, you know.
And sometimes, like if I get back there, I get out of the truck, hurry. If I don't have my phone in my pocket, I may not have my phone with me, but I try to get some videos of some stuff going on and since I'm out to the guys. And, you know, I don't want to send them all the stupid things I see them doing. You know, I'm not going to send text, well, 3 dogs treeing, yours just standing over here chewing on a stick. You know, I'm not, you know, and I'm not that guy, but, you know, the next time it may be that dog treeing and the other one chewing on a stick. Who knows? You're dealing with pups. But, yes, I'm going to try to give updates as much as I can and keep in touch with people.
And I guess I'm trying to lay this out so that if people decide, you know, I got this young dog or pup and I really, right now, I don't have the time, but in a month from now, you know, I'll have more time that I can mess with. Maybe I need to send my dog up here. I want them to have realistic expectations of, you know, they're not hiring you to be their personal assistant to call them every single day or text them every day, you know, about their dog. You know, they're paying you to do a service. Just like if somebody was paying me to cut their grass, I'm not, you know, gonna, every time I weed eat across the front of their yard, I'm not going to take a picture and say, hey, I weed eated that spot. You know, I'm there to do a job. I know what to do. You know, let me do it. And that's what people need to expect from you, I think.
Yep. Just, I'll do everything I can possibly do to make that dog the best that I can make him be when he leaves here.
Yeah. We're almost at an hour. Is there anything else in the pen you want to cover? A couple of things, or anything you want to talk about? We'll talk about
in the pen. I think we've covered the pen pretty good. Like I said, I'll treat your dog just like it's my own.
We probably
they get fed every day and watered regularly. So
real quick before we move to the other things we want to talk about. We're probably going to talk for another 20 minutes. Cause I'm going to edit all that out about them young dogs and stuff. So I got that for myself. But what's the price at this time? That today is June 6th, I believe, of 26. So what is your price per month right now?
So right now I'm $500 per month. I don't foresee changing that anytime in the future. When I first advertised the pen, I had kicked around whether I wanted to have them send a bag of dog food. After I got my first set of dogs, you know, I was like, okay, maybe I ought to have them bring a sack of dog food to take care of it. And which you was actually the first person that I had told that to. I just, you know, you won your deal. I said, if you don't want to bring it, that's fine. But hey, that's what I'm going to start doing. $500 a month, bag of dog food. And I actually had 2 or 3 guys that brought their dogs. You want us to bring feed? And I said, no. Yeah. But I think it'll work a little bit better. And I mean, dog food's not getting any cheaper.
That's right. And you know what? It's your dog. Bring your dog food. I mean, that should be automatic. Whenever you asked me that, I had already went and bought. Of course, I'm a dealer for Extreme, and they don't sponsor this podcast, but real quick, extremedogfuel.com. They've been great to me. Go check them out. But I'd already went and picked up an extra bag of feed just to bring up here with him. But when you asked me that, and you know, I think that's just kind of common courtesy of, hey, it's your dog. You'd be feeding if it's at home. Bring your feed with you. So he's got feed for a month, and a bag of dog food makes sense. If he eats it all, great. And if he don't, feed it to whatever else you want out there. Maybe you'll like it, want to feed it one day if you can get hold to it.
Exactly.
Anyway, I wanted to make sure we covered, you know, the price of it, and also how can people get in contact with you if they're interested in the pen?
They can either hit me up on Facebook.
And is it
Messenger?
Harry Tuggle?
Harry Tuggle. Okay. Yep, just Harry Tuggle on Facebook. My phone number, I can give you my phone number right now. It's 660-341-7540. Call me anytime. If I don't get to you, sometimes the service is kind of spotty here in no man's land. So, leave me a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you don't get me, you might even shoot me a text. I've been having a lot of guys text me their information as soon as I get off the phone with them. That way I've got it if I don't have my notebook with me to write down.
I do that when my lawn care business, I'm on a mower and a customer call me and I'll say, hey, would you mind texting me? So guys, if you call Mr. Harry, when you hang up, just shoot him a quick text of who you were, your conversation, and what's about it. I'm sure it'll help you keep track of it because it helps me a ton when customers.
Yeah, oh yeah, it does. Never thought I'd be into the text thing, but it's a lifesaver.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let's talk about the other things. I think we got the pen covered of what we want to talk about. Let's talk about some other things.
So I've got a couple of things here I just want to bring up. And one, I want to give a big shout out to the Iowa coon hunters. They do more for their youth state hunt than any other state. Them guys work their tails off. They take good care of them kids. Like there's not another state that does it the way they do. And I appreciate that from them guys. So shout out to the Iowa guys. If anybody, I know their hunt's coming up, I'm going to reach out to somebody, and I'm probably going to donate a 30-day to those guys if they want to. I think their hunt, is it next weekend? It's coming up.
Maybe.
I think it's in June. It's coming up.
It's coming up.
But I will donate a 30-day deal for them to do however they want to do with it. But they do. And anybody from Missouri that wants to get involved in the youth, get a hold of me. Let's put something together. Let's start working it. I'll work my tail off for it. I mean, that's what's going to keep this sport going.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys when I used to hunt are gone. They don't hunt no more. They can't hunt no more. They still like to tell lies and hang out. But I think we need to get the youth, and I know they said the numbers, they just have a hard time getting the youth there at our state hunt.
Yeah.
And I actually talked to Chris Freeberger, and it was kind of last minute, told him I'd donate and said we would, and then I found out the national thing was coming up, so I donated to the youth nationals.
Yeah.
But I'll still do something for the state next year. But anybody that hears this, if you can think of anything, get a hold of me. And I'll talk to whoever I got to talk to. I want to get involved in the youth thing a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, I know you donated one to, for Cheyenne Cummings thing. And they raised some money for Cheyenne there. That was great. And then, I'm sure Steve and Chris both are, very appreciative of
they were very appreciative.
And I mean, you're basically offering, it would be like me saying, hey, I'm going to cut your grass for a month for free. You're doing a service and you're going to do it for free. So, people should be appreciative of it. And that's one of the reasons why, I actually, before I won it or whatever, I had laid off doing these podcasts for right at a year. It's just, it's a lot of work, and I don't get paid anything for doing this. I have to take this home and edit it and put everything together. And then I had to pay a service to have this, kept live on there. And me and my wife had, talked about it. And I said, these people keep messaging me and texting me and asking me about the podcast. Me and her went to Automotes last year, walking around, people asking me about the podcast and how they missed it. And I this is like, you enjoy the pen. I enjoy meeting people like you today and having conversation about a like interest. And, that's the reason why I wanted to bring my board with me and you do a podcast with me, because you're giving the service for free. I want people to hear what you're doing and, call you, inquire about it, and bring a dog up here and, to you. You're offering all these things for free for your time. So I want to, do my part to try to help you out and return the favor.
Exactly. And we appreciate it. I didn't even know you done these podcasts. You shocked me Thursday night and caught me off guard. I was like, stuttering a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not the nervous type, so as you can tell, I'll talk.
Yeah, I haven't. It's been right at a year since I've done one. It's just, you run a business. You got kids. You got grandkids. I was coaching basketball also, and and I don't want to sound like a coon hunter that's making excuses for a dog. It's just life got busy, and you have to put food on the table first. Especially this is not where it pays, and I don't have paid sponsors. They'll Podbean or whatever dumps a few ads in there and it makes a few cent here or there, but basically covers my subscription per year. But, I thought, if I'm going to drive up there and this guy's donating a service and he's donated to the youth here, he's donated to Cheyenne. Now you're talking about donating to Iowa youth hunters and next year to the Missouri hunters. I want to return the favor. And, we have over 100,000 downloads on this thing. So quite a few people will be listening to this. And, if they've got questions or, maybe they got a young dog and they've been thinking, man, I need a little extra help with it. Hey, here's your outlet. I mean, it sounds like you're pretty busy right now, but.
Well, and something I haven't really put out there yet, I thought about it, and so I know there's a lot of dogs out there. Your dog, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
If we kick him in here in the pen, which we've talked about a couple other things that'll come later, we'll announce what else I'm going to take on, but I need to get some things lined out before I advertise that.
Yeah.
But if you bring me your dog and I'm requiring people to pay me up front.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you bring me your dog and I throw him in this pen the first time and he runs in there and just slams a coon and trees, and he does that every time, I'm going to call you and I'm going to say, hey, I've got him doing this. It's been 2 weeks. It's up to you. If I don't want to just take your other $250.
Yeah.
I could take that dog on the outside a little bit. I've got my own hunt, but I'm still going to hunt them dogs. If you say no, go ahead and hunt him 3 or 4 nights on the outside for the rest of it. That's, that's what I'll do. But if I feel one don't need to be in there no more, there's no sense in me keeping him, because it just makes more work for me, because I have to go there, stand there, let him get treated, and just handle that dog more, which is the whole scenario behind everything.
Yeah.
But I just, I'm going to be as honest with people as I can be.
Yeah.
And that's all I can do.
They won't nothing make a liar out of you quicker than a coon dog. That's for
exactly
sure.
right. Exactly right.
I want people to remember that. And I'll tell this quick story and then we can talk about whatever or if there's anything else. But most people have heard me talk about my creeper dog that I had. And he's just wild as a buck deer. And he he got tree and possums bad. And I tried everything I knew at the time. I had 2 other guys hunting. There was 3 of us hunting this dog. I thought, we'll hunt him down where he can't hardly go, and we'll get him focused. and he'd go in there on a cast, and you'd have him hunted down like that, and he'd tree a possum out of the truck, and you'd take that 225 minus, and he might go tree 3 coons in that hour too. I mean, he was just that type of dog. Well, I got aggravated, and I thought, I'm done with this. I can't take it. I enjoy this too much to be this aggravated. And I'd done a few more things to try to break him, and I thought, I can't break him. I'm done. So now a very good friend of mine, Mr. Craig Pickens out in North Carolina, he bought him, and he had him for, 2 or 3 months, and he called me and he said, hey, I thought you said this dog tree possums. I said, oh, he's the worst I've ever seen. And he said, well, he ain't treating no possums for me. He's treating coons. But what I'm getting at is here, whenever I sold that dog, I made him call the other 2 guys that was hunting that dog for me, and Brett, which people on here would know him as Big Money. I made him call him and talk to him. I wanted him to know how bad this dog was on tree and pot. I undersold, because there ain't nothing make a liar out of you quicker than a dog. And thankfully he did make a liar out of him, and Craig is super happy with him. It was the other way. I guess want people to understand, people don't purposely lie to you. Dogs just do crazy stuff. They can go one way or the other.
Oh yeah. Sure. They're flip flop. You never know.
Yeah.
Never know from minute to minute.
Yeah. Well, was there anything else you wanted to talk about, or we need to cover, or?
Well,
got any more stories you want to tell? Don't
have any more stories, but I'll keep it pretty short and sweet here. But I do need to take a nap before I go to the old Limberlegs hunt tonight.
Yeah,
I was telling Jason about the Limberlegs hunt. Jeff Jackson started. We all pay $20 a year.
Yeah,
it's $10 a month, and then at the end of the year, the guy with the most cast wins gets to hunt. The top 4 hunted off, and the winner gets it. We have a fish fry, and we draw cards to see whose house we have it at. It's a good time. And some fellers that they just can't get around as good anymore, and hunting the cast, but they still enjoy it. And it's one of them deals that whoever's hosting the hunt can either use UKC or PKC rules, and then with one stipulation: if your dog does something wrong, you can work on your dog during this hunt.
Yeah.
So you don't get barred.
Yeah.
It's a good time. We've got one tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim Swallows is hosting it tonight. So.
Yeah. Well,
but the last thing that I would like to touch base with everybody on, a word called respect. I just got back into hunting a little over a year ago. And where I live out here, as you've told everybody, it's amazing coon hunting.
Yeah.
We guide cast, and just like I explained earlier about the relations with these deer hunters, when they first come up here, they didn't like us. I mean, it was a no. But a lot of these guys have given me the same permission, and a lot of the locals around here, they give you a date that you can't hunt, and they give you a date when you can start back to hunting again. That's very appreciative. There's a lot of turmoil between out-of-state hunters, land lease, that lease ground to hunt. I mean, there's a lot of issues there. But we have a huge problem up here at the Bear Creek Classic, and it makes me irate. I come home 3 different nights from the Bear Creek Classic, 2 o'clock in the morning, hunt's over with. I can hear dogs treating 4 directions from my house. And rifles going off. That what these younger guys doing, and it's not all younger guys, I'm not pointing anybody out, but what these guys don't understand, yeah, we've got coons. I had 2 different people ask me in a cast when it was over with, would you mind if I come back in here? I brought a young dog to hunt because I'm going to be here all week. I just want to, get some coons. No. We save a lot of these spots from hide season. We don't go in there and shoot a lot of coons because that Bear Creek Classic's one of the biggest hunts in Missouri. It is the biggest hunt in Missouri.
Yeah.
And it's not just La Plata. Downing had trouble at the state hunt and other hunts they've had in the past. People are coming and they're staying. I get it. These guys come hunt. They don't do any good, or they win their cast. They don't go back out. They don't want to go sit in a motel room. I understand that. Watch some TV or something, because there's a lot of people upset around here. They rutted up some roads. They drove back in private field roads and rutted them up during the TOC and tore some stuff up. And there's just a lot of things that's taking place up here. And if we lose this hunting up here, the Bear Creek Classic will be no more.
Yeah.
There's several guys around here that own thousands of acres that let us do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And, just because you think nobody's out and nobody's around, it ain't going to hurt. Well, we're guiding these spots.
Yep.
And it's frustrating,
Yeah.
People just go do what they want to do, and they don't know the landowners. Just because we had you in there don't give you permission.
Right.
We had a guy lose some spots a few years ago. I mean, before I got back in, because the guy caught some people in there and they thought he sent them in there, and he told them he didn't, and he lost the spot.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of things like that people just need to stop and think about it just a little bit and appreciate what we have.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. I have a term for that. It's called guarding the gate. And the last podcast I did a year ago, one of the last things I talked about was that. And none of us as coon hunters, for the most part, own enough property ourselves to be able to turn a dog loose on all the time and repeat it night after night. And you do need to think about these things. I've told this story on here before, but right down from my house, a gentleman bought 450 acres, and he had put up all this nice fence and put some cows in there. And every day I'd stop, put his cows in because they were getting out. He had, a couple places that he hadn't fixed. And one day he come up and I was putting the cows back in, and he said, "Man, I appreciate you doing that." And he said, "What's that dog box in your truck?" I said, "I coon hunt." He whooped the key out and handed it to me. He said, "You can coon hunt on me anytime you want to." And I talk about, hey, when you walk up to a gate that you're going to open, look and see down to see how they have the chain wrapped around the gate.
How it's hanging there.
And when you go through it, turn around and shut it and put the chain just like they are. That sounds something so simple, but my dad was a little OCD. And that's kind of the way he was. If he put the chain on and the lock hanging this way, that's the way he expected to see it. And it's not, you think, oh, that's ridiculous. You don't have to do that. Well, that may be a little bit extreme, but if you do it that way, I guarantee you that farmer's going to be like, "I thought them boys was coon hunting in here, but this chain, the way I've done it." And then when he asks you and you say, "Well, yes, sir, but I'm just putting the chain back," it's going to mean a lot to him. I mean, when you even on a cast, we pull in, say down here at your creek down here to turn dogs loose, and I get out of my truck and there's a candy bar wrapper laying there that I didn't put there, I'm going to pick it up. Because I don't want you to lose your spot.
Right.
And I would expect the same thing if somebody's at mine. So, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up because, we every day lose hunting ground.
It's getting harder and harder and harder, and the laws are getting stricter, and they're trying to take it away from us anyway.
Yeah. And so we have to do our part as hunters to keep the landowners that we do have happy. I mean, thankfully in my country, I have a lot of national forests, but I'm going to tell you, buddy, if you had to go down there and walk that national forest a whole lot, you'd be happy to come up here and pick up all the trash down this creek because it's rough walking. And I think we are blessed being west of the Mississippi River. I don't think we are as populated as east of it. Because when I go back to Mississippi, when I go back to Alabama, I used to didn't think this way, but now when I drive back down there, I'm thinking, my God, there's a house on every 5 acres. I have blocks of timber down there that used to be, in 300 and 400, 500 blocks of timber. Now there's a house on just about all of it, and I can't even turn a dog loose there no more. I think as a matter of fact, I think it's a great subject to end on. Of guard the gate. Make sure you're doing your part. And if you're on a cast, especially somewhere like this that you've traveled to, reach out to somebody before you come and get permission. Don't go out on a cast thinking that, well, I'll figure out where their hunting spot is and then go back, because you're gonna get somebody in trouble.
Well, that, and then I know there were some guys that got permission on some places, which is fine and dandy. They got permission. That's great. But they need to remember one thing. They're not hunting on that hunt permit anymore.
Right.
And also, you don't know if Harry Tuggle or Jeff Jackson or anybody else is guiding that spot.
Yeah.
There's no need to wear it out. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's great you got permission. That's great. A lot of guys up here will give you permission.
Yeah.
But it's just respect the hunt. That week is a big week.
Yeah.
They put, I don't know how many dogs in the woods this year. It was one of the biggest years they've had.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I had a friend of mine. He come. I don't know if he come all week, but he come for a few days, and he said it was great. And I'm hoping I'm in a position where next year I can bring one of my dogs and come up here and hunt. And I don't know about. I mean, I guess maybe it's because I'm getting older, but man, when the cast's over, I'm ready to go take a nap.
Me too. Get something to eat and lay down.
Yeah.
Well, come back this year and.
Yeah.
Got a spare bedroom right here in the shop.
Yeah, I may do that. I may take you up on that for sure, because it's beautiful country up here, and I've been up here when they had the TOC. I mean, not TOC. When they had the World Zones. It's been a couple years ago now. And
Kirksville.
Was it Kirksville?
The TOC they have it at Kirksville.
It wasn't TOC. It was the World.
Oh.
I don't remember where we were at now. It wasn't far from here.
Macon.
Maybe
Macon has RQE down there, and they had something, I don't know.
Yeah, it's been 2 or 3 years ago. It was prior to them having it in Sedalia, because I think they moved it to Sedalia from where it was at up here, and then of course this year they've got it in Chadwick, Missouri, and that's my country, and everybody down there is mad about it, but I'm as excited as anybody could be, because I'm thinking I can sleep in my bed, I can hunt my spots. I've got some new spots I'm working on right now, and I feel like I have the best opportunity to make it to the top 100 as I've ever had in my life. My dog's qualified, so I'm excited for it to be there. I know everybody else is mad because Chadwick is Mark Twain National Forest, and it's rough, but we've got good coons in places, and it's at home.
That's good.
So, yeah.
One other thing too, we have started another club.
Okay.
It's Sioux City Coon Hunters. It's just outside. It's ways from La Plata, but we're holding the club is here in my shop where we're sitting.
Okay.
We're having 3 hunts a month. We have a Thursday, a $35. We have every Saturday hunt is a $55 double header, and then a $35 on Tuesday, so we can catch them all with 1 hunt permit. In this fall we're going to have 105.
Okay.
And then I think in August we're having a $300 Pro Classic on that one Saturday. So, yeah. So if anybody sees the Sioux City Coon Hunters and wonders where that's at, I'm sure you can Google it and look it up. But it's right here where the Bear Creek Classic's held. It's all the same hunting. So we have a new club here, and the last month was our first month, and had a good hunt.
Yeah, good. Well, that's good to hear. Well, if you don't got anything else, we've been rambling on here for over an hour, and I appreciate you taking your time out of your day. I know you need to take a nap for tonight, and you got work to do, but I do appreciate you cutting a little time out to do this with me, and I appreciate the service that you're offering here, as well as I'm sure other people will too.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to ramble on your podcast.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for being on. Well, guys, that's all we got for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you look Mr. Harry up, give him a call, shoot him a message, inquire about his pen. Let's help support him. He's helping the youth of our sport, and the youth of our sport is the future of our sport. So make sure you reach out to him, help him out any way you can. Come be a part of a hunt that he's holding up here, or bring a pup to him and get the pup started on the right track. So till next week, we'll talk to you then. Thanks, guys, for listening to the Coonhound Collective podcast today. We really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to the podcast. If you don't mind, head over to Facebook and give us a like, and head over to Instagram and give us a follow. It's both at the Coonhound Collective. Also, if you would like to reach us here at the Coonhound Collective, you can reach us at thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. If there's someone that you would like to hear on the podcast, or a product that you would like to hear talked about, please send it to thecoonhoundcollective@gmail.com. Thanks again. Have a great day.